Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I think this is episode 295, and I am your host, Sean Garmer. Here with me, as always, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And we are live on the Twitch and on Facebook at 2 a.m. Eastern Time right now. So if you happen to be awake, or I guess on the West Coast, and it's only 11 over there, and you want to watch us, you can go to our WTM Twitch channel. Of course, I'll always follow us on there, subscribe to let us know. You can know whenever we have shows. Of course, the other stuff that's on the WTM Network also uses our Twitch channel, like all of Radless's shows whenever they're doing entertainment stuff. And of course, when Eric is doing his thing with the game show or the League of Legends show as well. And of course, we have our Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, you can go follow us on there, wtnet.com as well. And we are on YouTube after the fact. So if you prefer YouTube, you can watch some video there. Of course, listen to us wherever there are podcasts. That's always an option if you just want to listen with your ears instead of watch our my face and then Mark's black screen there. So just a quick note. Sorry for last week. I was not feeling well. Had a really bad case of, a really bad case of the runs to the point where I had to lay in bed, and it sucked because last week was not only Thanksgiving, but it was my birthday. So I'm 35 now, but wasn't much of a celebration. I did get to see one movie that we'll talk about in probably a little bit later in the show, and it is gaming related, so you guys will probably care much more about that in this instance. And of course, had the holidays. It's actually my mom's birthday today, so happy birthday to my mom. And of course, Mark, you also had holiday festivities. Anything you
I
want to
bought some
talk about
stuff
there?
like Blu-rays and games. That's about it.
Okay, I mean, yeah, there was those Black Friday sales. I participated in that as well. I'll talk about some of the games that I'll talk about all the games that I bought on that sale. It's officially ended. The Steam one is still going for a couple of days. I'm not sure if the Xbox One is finished or not. Switch actually had a really good physical one at GameStop. They had a lot of games that were down to $27. So if you missed that, I'm not a physical person, so even though on Switch it's actually not that bad because you just carry the cart with you. On the other systems, I really just didn't want stuff physical. But
I
either
actually
way,
bought. I bought like a digital copy of Fire Emblem and then sold my physical one.
there you go. So yeah, let's I guess get into the games. If we want to talk about new stuff, or at least the newest thing that's out, I did get Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I've played up until the second gym. My Pokemon are all level 22, 23 in that area. Unfortunately, for those people that do not like the experience share is not able to be disabled in this game. So, just letting you know, even though it's actually a better idea for them to have it because apparently this was when they decided to beef up the competition in the Pokemon series. The Elite Four, you have to be around level 70 when you get to them. So it's actually probably a better idea to have the experience share on. I still think it's weird that they know that there's a lot of players that don't like it, and it's weird that they don't make it an option from the start for them to disable it. Will they ever make it an option? I don't know. I remember this being a problem with Sword and Shield, and then I think they eventually put that in with a patch. So I'm not sure if that will get put in or not, but we'll see. As far as the game goes, it's Pokemon Diamond and Pearl as you remember it, basically, except for the facelift. I like the chibi characters. I know people don't like that, but I actually like the way they look, and I think they look a lot better when they're in battle, honestly, than the people give them credit for. And really, I haven't ever played Diamond and Pearl, so I've kind of been slowly going through the game. Obviously, it's a Pokemon game, so if you play Pokemon at all, this is kind of going back to the old formula. And at this point, if you like that, this was the first game I think they introduced the contests. No, that's I'm usually not one that really cares for any of that extra stuff in the Pokemon games. I just play the story. I beat the Elite Four. I usually go around and catch Pokemon as I meet them, and then I'll go back maybe and catch some of the legendaries and stuff like that. There is a lot of I mean, there's Diamond and Pearl actually has a lot of the Pokemon that I think people wind up using in the battles or whatever like that when you're talking about going up against your friends. What I've really found is I usually always try to use Pokemon that are exclusive to that game. I don't go back and try to use like Gen 1 Pokemon or whatever, or Gen 2 if it's a different. I did the same in Sword and Shield. I only use Sword and Shield Pokemon. I didn't go back and try to use, old favorites or whatever. So I've kind of found it difficult to find ones that are only for this game and not like, from older games.
Didn't one of those games like it locked all the old ones behind like New Game Plus or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was this game actually. They locked a lot of them. Here
That
was it Black and White? I'm not sure.
it like ticked off people because they wanted they brought over their Pokemon or hey, I want to find Pikachu, and it's like, well, he ain't in here for a while, so
yeah, I don't remember exactly what game, but I do kind of know what you're talking about on that end. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I haven't finished it yet, so I don't really have a lot to say. Honestly, I do think Team Galactic is kind of stupid. I don't feel like, I mean, listen, for the most part, Team Rocket and Team Aqua and whatever the heck they were, and Ruby and Sapphire weren't anything to write home about, but I felt like it at least increased in difficulty and you didn't have the same dumb Pokemon throughout the thing. So far, I feel like the whole Team Galactic thing is just silly and almost a waste of your time, but whatever on that. I have liked some of the two towns that I've been in. So, there's that. I'm not sure how I feel about the rival guy that feels like he has ADHD and has to run around all the time when you're facing him. But this kind of started the thing with the friendly rival and not so much the in your face. I dislike you rival. So there is a change in that direction. It seems like for this, where the series changes into let's have the rival that isn't necessarily mean or like, actually once, you guys are competing with each other. This is more of a like, well, he got here for me and whatever. And okay, cool. And then I'm going to run off to the next thing. Oh, but we got a battle maybe. And then, okay, that's it. It almost feels like the professor is more of in your face and kind of with it than say your rival is, which is kind of weird, but I kind of like Rowan the Professor, so that's a neat thing at least. But yeah, it's Pokemon. If I get more into it next week, I guess I'll talk about it then, but we'll see. I've gotten into I bought myself a bunch of games with the Black Friday sale. I may do so with the Steam sale as well because there's some games I want to try out for Game of the Year discussion, so we'll see how that goes. One of them is Life is Strange True Colors, which I'll go through. I bought Life is Strange True Colors, which is probably the most expensive one. It was $38 with the standard edition. I didn't buy the deluxe and all that other stuff. Plus, I'd only played Life is Strange 1 to like a certain point, and then I never picked it up again. I never played the other two. So Life is Strange True Colors was really the first one that I've actually given a shot. And I played the whole way through. I beat it. I also bought Deathloop, Resident Evil Village, and Persona 5 Strikers. Those were all $30. So, again, if you missed the sale, I'm sure for the Game Awards, they might have a similar sale, but they may not go that low. So, if you missed it, that you missed out on having some really killer games be $30. You know what? Life is Strange for me. I thought that game has some really good story. I do definitely think it deserves to be in like the best narrative category when we're talking about, Game of the Year kind of thing for that. I really like Alex as a character. I think that the way you go through her story, what happens to her brother, and then how you use that to continue to tell the tale, of course, is very important and really drives her the two romance options are there, I feel like it sort of pushes you one way and not the other towards Stephanie, but it does a good job of trying it giving you the option to do either one, whether it's the male Ryan or the female Stephanie. So, and you can actually kind of toe the line between both of them for a while until you get to a point where it makes you either choose neither or choose one. And then it's weird that I didn't like the fact that there's an extra option. I understand that he's like the son of another character that's important to the game, but I didn't necessarily like that you're giving people the option, but there's an extra section that's only for the, if you romance the male character, whereas you don't get that if you romance the female character. I chose the Stephanie, so I didn't get that special like extra stuff that you get if you romance Ryan, which is, again, bad decision by Square Enix. I feel like if you're going to present both, you shouldn't just have an extra section that's with one and not the other. Considering that I like for about like 8 years of my life, I went to Colorado to Vail, which I know it's different than what this section of Colorado is supposed to represent. But it's sort of the same kind of vibe, like the small town kind of vibe. Vail has that sort of vibe. Obviously, it's more of a ski town, but when you walk around the various stores that are in the area where we had our condo, it kind of felt that same way, and it kind of like brought back some memories for me. I thought that was kind of neat to have it set in, Haven Springs in Colorado in that area. I liked a lot of the surprises you get, like the certain sections that they go into. I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't played it yet. But there is this one cool section that actually they make it into a game itself. And I appreciated that they went kind of full ham with it. And it really goes full ham when you get to the end of that part. And that was really one of like the best parts for me, is like getting there and like experiencing that and be like, wow, they really did, they dedicated a lot to that and they didn't have to. So I appreciated for what that was. As far as the emotions thing with Alex, I feel like they did a good job with that. I don't know how the other, powers work. I know you played Life is Strange 1.
Yeah, that was all. That was
Mark.
all time related. Like you could freeze time to rewind it, and I think in 2, it was all like telekinetic.
Okay, yeah. So this is more of like your. I didn't really grasp until I was halfway through chapter 2 that you can actually, there's like, NPC characters that you can mess with, their emotions as well. I didn't realize that you had the ability to do that until it tells you at the end, oh, you made this decision and other people made this decision. I was like, oh, that's why there's a button and they have a little circle on their head. And I can actually, it doesn't have to just be with the main characters. It could be with this little side character as well. So I kind of missed that. But for the most part, it was fun, like going through and seeing what people's thoughts were and then deciding if you wanted to change that or not, or help them or not. And
there was something like that in the first game where there were instances where like a bird would die randomly,
right.
like go like fly into like a window, and you could like rewind time and then open the window before it does that, so the bird would survive.
Oh, okay.
And it's like it's not explicitly said in the game at all until the end when you get like the checklist and it's like, oh, you saved 4 birds or you saved the bird. It's like, what?
Okay.
I didn't
it
notice
doesn't do it by chapter. It does it by the whole game.
I didn't know. Did it by chapter because that was episodic.
Okay.
Yeah.
This does. I mean, it's all in one game, obviously, instead of the different episodes. So, but it does have the chapter set up.
Yeah.
When you get to the next chapter, it blatantly tells you. So yeah, for the most part, I really enjoyed it. And if you like narrative-based games, I think this is one you definitely should try out. Even if you haven't played any of the Life is Strange games, I definitely think this is worth a shot on its own. And you don't have to know anything about the other Life is Strange games at all. This is its own self-contained story. And, like me, now I'm possibly considering, if I want to play Life is Strange remastered or whatever,
Yeah.
or was it Before the Storm was the other one Deck Nine did. So, and they also have DLC with Stephanie, which I've considered for $13 if I want to buy it or not. We'll see. But I got a lot of other stuff to get to. I did give Deathloop a shot. It hasn't hooked me really quite yet.
Like I said, it takes a while to really get going.
Yeah, that's probably what it. I mean, if I had only bought that game and that's the one game I'm trying, maybe I would have like not jumped to something else really fast.
Like they introduced, like how many loops did you do? Probably just like one or two.
I did like 3 or 4. I mean, the thing was, I died a few times until I got the hang of it. Of like choosing when to be sneaky and then choosing when to like just go in there and
Yeah. See, the thing about that game really is you find something called residuum, which is like some element that you can find. Have you seen like weird objects that are like purple?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's residuum, and you get that like later on, and you can absorb that later on. And with
okay, I was wondering what you would do with that. Yeah,
I was like, is this like a graphical glitch when I first saw it, or like what the hell is this? What that does is it allows you to basically save your loadout. So let's say you find a gun you really like, you can save it, and then the next time you loop, you have that gun automatically.
Okay, so you don't necessarily lose it,
And it works for like weapons, modifiers on the weapons, like trinkets or additions, and it also works those slab things. So like my guy, when I loop now, I can automatically teleport, and I can link guys to get like link enemies together. Like I throw out this like projectile that like links enemies together, like health wise. So if I kill one of them, like whoever is linked to him goes down.
Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, I like the clockwork nature of that game because like certain of those characters, certain like encounters, you can just kind of keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that you have the option of, obviously it's Arcane, it's from the Dishonored guys, so that's in there of like having the option of whether you want to be sneaky or whether you want to just go in there guns blazing, but obviously you have to deal with more enemies if you do that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that part, and I like Colt as a character. I like how kind of like off the cuff he is of just saying whatever. And sometimes it's just like saying the way he talks to Juliana while, when she's like basically trying to mess with him the whole time whenever they talk.
Have you faced off against her yet?
No, I haven't. I'd only gotten to, I think, like the third world or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Or the third like mission. Like I went to where I find Colt's where he lives.
Yeah, okay, the apartment, yeah.
Yeah, and then I got to the one after that, and that's kind of where I stopped.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, well, I'm going to give some of these other games a shot, and then I did get hooked by something else that I'm almost done with now. So I might go back to Deathloop once I get done with this, because I'm pretty much at the end. I did give Persona 5 Strikers a shot. I mean, it's a Musu game, so even though it has the Persona, flavor to it, and I did appreciate that. Like I appreciated going back and finding, going to meet all the characters again.
Yeah,
that was cool, and then fighting with them and everything else. I feel like it's a game that I don't necessarily like have to rush through. I kind of know what that game is, and it. I don't. I can kind of take my time with it.
Yeah.
So I did really get hooked by Resident Evil Village, considering that I'm not a big Resident Evil fan. Not because I don't like the lore or the story or whatever. It's more of just I played a little bit of 7. I played a little bit of the RE2 remake, I recently bought the 3 remake, but I haven't touched it. And then I played a little bit of what is it, 0,
Yeah, that was one
and
of
a
the
little bit of the 1
GameCube one.
remake. So like
Yeah.
I've never really gotten far in any of them. I just kind of play a little bit, and then something happens where I get distracted by another game or something that's like more of my vibe, and then I drop it and I don't come back to it. I own all the games on the PlayStation 4. So it's not that I don't like care about the series or whatever. I always am down for buying them when they're on a sale. I don't know. It's just nothing had really grabbed me, and then I just start playing Resident Evil Village, and I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess it's just knowing that all of you guys. That's the one game that we have like very much like Final Fantasy VII last year. The one game where we have a consensus is Resident Evil, that we all kind of liked it. So
you like it because it's the story of a man trying to find his daughter.
No, not really, because Ethan is a piece of trash character. Like he's kind of boring, and he says the stupidest shit I've ever heard, and like I'm sorry, it's just there's nothing good about him.
I think it's
bland.
I mean, I think it's funny he walks around like throughout the entire game with like 2 fingers missing and doesn't care, or doesn't even.
Well, I mean, he did go through the shock of having his arm taken off, and then he puts it back on, and then he puts on this special juice. Or the special medic thing, and that
he just like reattaches it, like he just like sticks it back on. Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm
cool. It's like, all right, whatever. I mean, so like I like all of the villain characters are actually pretty cool. I mean, the thing that sucks is Lady D is not.
Yeah, she's like the first character or first boss, and she's like barely a factor, really.
Yeah, that's the thing is a lot of the marketing is built around her, and you don't see her much. You don't see her much in the area that she's in either, because she's a stalking character, but there's large parts of that castle where she is not a factor at all. And you can would forget that she's there.
Or you can like totally break her AI. If you just go in like the save room, she will cannot find you, which is really funny.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean it's also just funny because like I'll like run around that until you get to the last part where apparently she figures out that she can go into the room with the 4 statues.
Yeah.
If you go in that room, she like doesn't go there.
Yep.
And you need to be in that room most of the time. So it's like, okay, and so I mean there was times where she got me because I didn't get into the room fast enough or whatever, but I didn't really find her that difficult. I mean, it is cool what happens to her when she turns into what she actually is. I really think Heisenberg's pretty awesome. I actually kind of felt bad for the Moreau character.
Heisenberg's boss fight is really terrible.
Yeah, I haven't got. That's where I'm at actually. Is the boss before him, the propeller dude?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, and then I've heard that fight with Heisenberg is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So and I did like the little section that's actually more traditional Resident Evil, the one with the baby. I'm glad that was short.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like wear out its welcome, because I don't know that hiding about 20 times would have been really good for the pace of the game.
That was the dollhouse or the doll. That was like before the doll, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, and I really like the merchant. I don't know about the character itself, but the merchant is. I like the fact that there's an upgrade system, and I love all the guns. I mean, obviously, I have some of the better guns now or whatever, but I think for the most part, it's like they're always spot on good with what you need at that moment. I never felt like I was running out of ammo. Yeah.
That's the thing is I didn't either, but Jens did, or he said he was like constantly like running low on ammo, and I was like, I mean, that may happen like once or twice, but for the most part,
you're always finding stuff.
Yeah. Or
Or I mean, you could. There's always the other like weapons, like the bombs and the mines and stuff like that help you as well. Like those, I just had to go through the factory, which to me, I think that's like the worst section because it takes way too long. It feels like it goes on forever. I'm just kind of like, oh my god, be done with it already.
Yeah.
And then you have to fight these dudes with the little
Yeah,
weak spot and
only hit
the
them in the heart. Yeah, when they're like
yeah.
not blocking it. I was like, cool.
And then you get to the point where they're armored and they come out of nowhere in the darkness, and I was like, oh fuck, like,
Yeah.
damn it, not right now. Like I'm
It's a
trying
lot
to
of
get
fun
through
though.
this.
Is
Yeah.
replaying that section on your second time when you have an infinite ammo shotgun.
Oh, okay, I bet. I just used a couple mines and then they died.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool, whatever. But no, I like the thing I liked a lot was the where you go in the lichen den and then you're just mowing through the freaking wolves like crazy. I love that section too. I mean, there's a lot of good sections in that game.
See, what's funny is you bounced off of Resident Evil 7, or you stopped playing it, and like the consensus generally is like Resident Evil 7 is a better game, or at least maybe scary.
Well, a better, more of like horror, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna be one of those that probably likes 4 more, than
8.
Well, 8 is a lot like 4.
Yeah.
Right? That's like more action based, but this one kind of tends to keep a little bit more of the horror than say 4 does. So and 4 has a merchant too, right?
Yep.
So that's the one that's gonna get remade next. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm hoping to beat it, if not tomorrow, by Wednesday before I go to work, and then I will move on probably back to Deathloop, or if I get something on the Steam sale before it ends.
Yeah.
We'll see. So you told me that you are now taking your turn at Guardians. You're about halfway through.
Yeah, I bought some stuff also for Black Friday, but not.
Yeah.
I only bought like one new game, which is Guardians.
Okay.
Jens picked me up Dark Souls, or Demon Souls rather, for PS5.
Okay.
So I'll give that a shot later on. I mean, that's a year old, but I'm kind of curious to try it because that's like the one game that actually looked really nice at launch.
Mm-hmm.
But I picked up an N64 flash cart.
Okay.
Which is funny because I don't have an N64 to run it on. I mean, but the cart was cheap, so why not?
Right.
I picked up Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for the PS2.
Okay.
Which is not cheap.
Yeah, I imagine not.
That was $160.
Woof. Yeah.
And then I picked up Persona 3 limited edition Jade Cocoon, which is a PS1 game.
Yeah.
And Star Ocean, the second story, which is also a PS1 game.
Okay, yeah, that's.
But I got that one for free because it was buy two get one.
Game.
Yeah, and that was like the only game they had that was kind of interesting that I could afford. And then I also grabbed. I grabbed Mass Effect Legendary Edition for Steam for $10.
Oh, nice.
Because of the Amazon had a price there for like 5 minutes.
Okay. You're always good at grabbing those, yeah. But you already had it for what, PS4?
Yeah, PS4. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, might as well. But yeah, Guardians is a game I picked up because I actually picked it up at Best Buy, I think, or maybe Amazon.
It was 25 there? Or?
No, it was 35. But Walmart was like, "Oh, our edition comes with a steelbook," but I saw like a lot of people complaining that it didn't, or like they were missing it. So I'm like, screw you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm like in chapter 8 of that game. I don't like it.
You don't like it? Why?
Well, the gunplay is fine, or like the gameplay is kind of interesting, like having to manage all of the teammates when you're trying to like stay alive yourself.
Right.
Or like, but
they're supposed to help you so you can stay alive.
Okay, here's a shielded guy, so I have to freeze his shield down, and then I fire a few like electric bolts at him to like bounce off him and then other people, and then kill him myself.
Yeah,
that's fine. Like the gameplay itself, like the actual like nuts and bolts gameplay is fine. I hate the voice acting in that game with a fiery passion. I believe me, I understand you can't get Chris Pratt, like the movie cast, to do this game. Although Chris Pratt seems to want to voice everything nowadays, so what does it matter? Um,
Right.
if you're not gonna get him, like if you're not gonna get the movie cast, get like actual voice actors. Like get like you don't have to get like Nolan North, but get like people who have like done it before. I find Quill's voice actor to be insanely annoying, like just like a like jackass, and I kind of know that's the character, but like not to that level. The only guy who's done voice acting in that game is like the guy playing Groot, which is hilarious because
He
he only
doesn't
says one
say
fucking
anything.
line.
Yeah, doesn't say anything. Yeah.
Uh yeah, the voice acting is really doing it in with the story also because like, I don't care about the story because I don't like how anyone sounds. I mean, I guess Rocket's kind of okay, but like, believe me, there are better voice actors in Canada where like this game was made or recorded. You couldn't find anyone else.
I don't know. I guess it just didn't. I thought they sounded fine. I mean, I thought Rocket sounded sort of like Rocket, and Groot is Groot, whatever. And I didn't have a problem with Quill. Like you do. I mean, yeah, he's supposed to be a little bit of an asshole, but that kind of goes away as the
And
team starts bonding, which
that's two things. One is like there's a whole big kind of fight between Star Lord and Rocket, like in like
right.
chapter 5 to like 7 or 8, and I don't know what it's about.
Did you pick the option to throw him?
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
no.
Like
Okay.
I was fairly nice to him, and then he was like basically
Yeah,
like chapter 6. He
they
was like,
had
"Well,
the
fuck you."
fight where he leaves,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
like he takes Groot and they're gone. I'm like, "You're in like
right.
no the space station." I'm just like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like,
Yeah,
uh,
because they have a fight over who's if that basically making him feel like he's not important,
yeah.
and
Uh,
whether it's his ship or not, or whatever.
Two other things. One, that game constantly is referencing other adventures that they had, but
Mhm.
that's not good. Like it's more of like a well, you're not showing this, and it has no like there's no basis of reference for the player. So when you guys are talking about some adventure you had on like some other planet, why does this matter? Or what's going on?
Well, I mean, they're not. This is not their origin story. This is like this are the Guardians, and they're kind of They're like they have been around as a team for a little bit, but you're seeing them. This is the story that makes them the Guardians that where they do become a team and they care about each other and that kind of thing. But they've been
Uh,
on other adventures at this point, so it kind of makes sense. I mean, at least to me, it did. Of like, well, of course they would have other adventures because they've done other things by
well,
this point.
it'd be like if you got into a group of friends, and then all of the group of friends are referencing stories or things that happened to the group of friends, and you're just sitting there like an idiot because it's like, well, I have no reference to any of this crap. Uh, the other thing I hate is two things I also hate. One is I hate that whenever I go to find like materials or the upgrade
Mm-hmm.
resources,
Yeah,
everyone's always bitching at me about doing it.
like when you explore,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
when they
like,
tell you why are you going that way, Quill, or whatever.
yeah, or
Yeah,
it's yeah, like I'm in the I think I was on the Nova ship, and I went to the one of the hallways like with like poison gas, and I stopped the gas and got the resources, and I think Gamora was like, "Oh, you'd rather be in a room with deadly gas and talk about if you're the father to this girl," and it's like, no, I'd rather be in this room with deadly gas because it has a fucking metal I need to upgrade my shit. Like it's not like the biggest deal. And I also play that game like 80% with the stupid visor on
oh, with the okay,
because I have that upgrade or that thing that's like, oh, you can see resources pop up, and it's like, well, why wouldn't you have that on like all the time? uh and the last thing is I'll say is I hate that goddamn huddle mechanic.
Okay, yeah, the huddle no one really likes.
I
I didn't like it either.
I've done it like 8 times. I failed 6 times. Like of the 8,
how
I
did you
failed
fail?
6.
It's the most obvious thing. It's whichever one says talks about teamwork.
No, because there's a lot of them that like, oh, I talk about teamwork, and then everyone's like, "Fuck you," or it's like, "No, that's dumb," and then they just leave, and I'm like, "What the hell?"
I only failed it one time because I didn't hear what they said. Other than that,
Well, I
I've
mean,
never failed that thing.
they literally pop up words like above the character's head saying Gamora feels confident or Gamora, Rocket
Yeah.
is depressed. And it's like, okay, well, I'll give like a pep talk answer, and then everyone gets more depressed. And I'm like, okay, then why the
Uh,
fuck would I do this at all then? Aside from like
uh,
me hopefully getting the damage upgrade.
I mean, like the thing that is helpful is that you get to use their special abilities. I think like 2 or 3 times in a row.
I didn't even know that. I just
Yeah,
saw that it's like, oh, everyone gets like a damage upgrade or damage boost. And I'm like, all right,
yeah, you get
fine.
a damage boost, and their special abilities are like on a they don't do a cooldown for like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course you get the where it plays the music.
Yeah. I'm like,
Uh,
yeah. Uh
so
I'll finish it. How many chapters are in it? Like 14, I assume?
17.
Ugh. Uh I don't really mind the game. Like I said, the gameplay itself it's kind of boring, but fine. But yeah, I just hate like the story is like hit or miss like at the moment, but I just hate the voice acting so much that it's like really driving me away.
That's probably because you have to hear a lot of it constantly as well.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
another
might be
game where
what's yeah.
I could probably dig in the options, turn on the voice acting. That might help, or just turn it off.
Yeah, you can, or just play it on mute. I don't
Yeah.
know. It
Uh,
might help you.
what else? Me and Jens finished Diablo 2.
Okay.
We finished like the main chapter or main game like a week or two ago, and then we finished the expansion like a few nights ago. That expansion is no joke. We spent almost 2 hours in one goddamn room.
Damn, really?
Like
Why?
not the last boss, because the last boss is Ball, but the room before him, like the room that he's in before he goes to like his portal. It spawned in like 10 enemies that were hard, then like 10 more because it's like a gauntlet. 10 enemies
Right.
were hard, 10 more enemies which were hard, and then he spawned in like 7 of these guys. One had like a name, like a champion, and his 6 buddies all hit like insanely hard, and then had health regeneration.
Oof.
Like very rapid health regeneration. So we kept getting slaughtered and like running back to our bodies, and we couldn't like damage him down hard enough. And we eventually did, because I think I kited like 5 of them away, and then he killed like I ran back and he killed like 2 or 3 of them, and then we could just kind of go.
Yeah.
But I looked it up later, and those guys were like level 57 or 58, and we were like level 30.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, of course. It's 30 level. It's
Yeah, but then
different. Jeez.
we killed Ball. I mean, we got a lot for that too, but that was like, I don't know, half hour. That was like really easy compared to like that room. uh, and then I've been kind of still playing Shin Megami Tensei V.
How's that?
It's still hard. Like that game does not give you any quarter for as far as like introducing new players or making it easy.
It's still a Shin Megami Tensei game. It's hard. Okay.
I mean, I would say it's harder than like most of them. It's harder than like at least 3.
Oh wow, that's saying something because a lot of people think 3 is hard.
Yeah. I may buy the DLC that lets you kind of cheat. Like there's an item that lets you gain levels quickly. That'd be useful.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure that it would.
uh, and I think Jens he was able to order a copy of the premium edition. I don't know if it shipped or not yet, but he was happy.
That's good that he's been able to do that. So, should note before we get going next week, the show's going to be on Wednesday because Randy is going to be on. So, Thursday morning for you guys. So at least we'll get to have Randy on and he'll talk about what he's been able to play, which he's going through Guardians as well. I think he's like in chapter 4 right now, and then he's played some other things. Oh, I also got to play It Takes Two a little bit with Anaya.
Yeah.
So, she laughed at the Dr. Kimi stuff because she liked his accent, thought it was funny. We got to the first boss with the vacuum.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
It's it took her a little bit to figure it out. I mean, I was I'm proud of her that she wanted to do all the puzzles by herself. She didn't want me to really pass them for her or whatever. And she got good by the time we finished. Of course, we need to go back and keep playing, but I've had to play stuff myself, so we haven't had time to go back and play. But I really need to play some more. I think we got to like section 4, and that's as far as we got. Where you're, she has the hammer, and she
The
obviously
nail gun.
played May, and I played forgot his name, the male character.
Yeah. That's what happened with me and Jens too.
So I have the nail, and she has the hammer, and you have to work together to try to figure out where you go. That's as far as we got. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it for us playing games here. But yeah, I definitely think more people. Hopefully, if you have a friend to play with, definitely play with a friend. I would say don't play with randoms. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be your significant other. Play with a friend. Play with a sibling, a child, whichever. Definitely more people should play that game. That is, I haven't played it all the way through, but just from the the sections I played with Anaya, we had a lot of fun. We laughed a lot. So I would definitely recommend take advantage of the fact that it's on Game Pass and play that, folks. Really, really do. So that being said, let's go on to what is happening in the news. And you mentioned Mass Effect, picking it up and everything. Mass Effect may possibly have a TV show that is being, Amazon is the one that it's actually trying to secure the rights for it. Deadline reports. Of course, this should be for Amazon Prime Video, obviously. There's also rumors that they're doing a Dragon Age. Now, I don't know if Amazon's going to be the one trying to pick that up as well, considering they have the Lord of the Rings series, so that'd be 2 big fantasy series. But obviously, Amazon has the money to do it if they wanted to. This kind of led to one of the lead writers for Dragon Age, David Gaider. He really had a lot to say about it. It makes sense.
He wasn't happy.
Yeah, he went off of the fact that Mass Effect is a game where basically you kind of create a lot of the story yourself as you play, and that's going to be hard to translate into an actual TV show or a movie. As someone that has played a lot of the Mass Effect games, all the Mass Effect games, Mark, I mean, how do you feel about the news of this series becoming a TV show?
I mean, it could work, and I do kind of agree, at least like partially with his viewpoint. But like most video game adaptations have like bad characters or like no motivations, so it's a little weird. Like look at like the Halo show. Like what how is that character going to really work? Because he barely even talks in the game.
Right, but he talks. He just don't see his face, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think the problem is, I would say Dragon Age is worse because there's not really a defined character. Like, I don't want to say pitchman, but like a recognizable main character. Like, at least Mass Effect has, that male model dude. So they'll find someone who looks like him who can hopefully act and cast him in the role. Or else it should just do like a light and dark side for every episode. Paragon and Renegade. Well, he made all the good choices in this one, all the bad choices in this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
I don't know. I mean, have you seen that Cowboy Bebop show?
I watched the first couple episodes. Yeah.
I mean, people bitch about it. Like it's not like wholly accurate to the anime, but like I don't know, that works relatively fine.
Yeah, but I feel like those characters, they already have their motivations, like what they're supposed to
I
do.
mean,
I
they
mean,
are much more defined, sure, but I just meant like from like a visual aspect, or like like a
I don't
I
think we need to. I don't think that's the worry for anyone. I mean, like Star Wars exists, like all these other things. It's like making a space show is not what I'm worried about. Like them getting those characters looking right and the settings that you're in correctly is not, I think, what people are worried about. It's more about, okay, so a lot of this game is based on like your companions, right? So
but
a
I would
lot,
say the companions are pretty well defined. It's only Shepard that's like a blank slate, and you
right?
could
Okay, they're well defined, right? But okay, they're not going to be able to make the same choices that you made for those companions. So some of those companions are going to be like footnoted, whereas for some people those companions were a big deal. So that's going to be difficult for them to capture that. They're just going to have to give all these companions and base. They're going to have to give Shepard whichever version they choose. Right? They're going to have to decide whether it's going to be female Shep or male Shep. Right? They can't have both
I
unless they're
mean
going to have a romance between the two Sheps, which would be really weird. So, like, I
it,
mean,
it it should be male Shepard, but given the political nature of things nowadays, it'll be like
well, didn't Bioware themselves say female Shep is the canon?
I mean I maybe,
Yeah,
but that came way later. I mean
I feel like that's what they wasn't that what they decided. Like after once they made Andromeda, that was supposed to be female Shep was the canon, or
I mean
um,
if that's the case, it's really dumb because it's just like revisionist garbage. It's like how Doctor Who has been ruined.
whatever you're saying, it's been ruined because they added a female doctor.
No, I'm saying it got ruined because they revised the history and
Oh, okay, well,
crammed
yeah,
in garbage that completely destroyed the character.
I will agree there. We know that Doctor Who has been bastardized by the current director and everything.
Yeah, Chibnall.
Uh,
Uh
so
I mean, she was only on. I mean, even if you take into the games, like she was like on the third one, like the third box art, and that was it.
yeah,
So
I
I
mean,
don't.
but it's uh, like like you're saying, it may be something that they decided later and not necessarily the way it was intended at first.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, when you start that game up, the first game, it defaults to male model dude shepherd. Like
right. Uh,
whenever I boot up a game, I always just pick default. If I want to be a woman, fine. If I
I
want to be a
usually
male,
go
fine.
by. I usually go by like what I've seen the most of, or just there's some games where like for me it doesn't matter. Like let's say okay, Pokemon. Because at the beginning there was no option to have gender, right? That was later. I've always been because it's supposed to be more a reflection of myself, so um, I always pick the male character. But say in let's say Scarlet Nexus, right? I pick the female character. And some other games where you have the license to like create what you want, I usually create a female character. A lot of times it like matches that game really, so I'll go with that. I think, yeah, unless I'm like trying to be more of like myself, then I'll pick the male character. But for the most part, I usually pick like female characters.
Well, that's what I said
Um,
for Far Cry 6 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like Valhalla starts you off with male character, so I'm like, okay, I guess they wanted me to play
right.
male character. Uh, I think Far Cry 6 starts you off with like a female. It doesn't start with like a female character, but like that's like the first option on like the
Well, it
menu.
should be because Danny's the only thing they ever showed in that
Well, but
those
I mean, it's
trailers.
a gender neutral name, so like even if you pick a male, his name is still
Right.
Danny.
No, I
But I mean,
understand
like,
that. I'm just saying, like, they've never even shown
yeah,
that there was a male option
right.
in the trailers,
I mean, that was
So,
the uproar about Valhalla. Is like people were like, oh, you don't show the female Ivor like in the commercials and stuff,
right.
and she's a kind of an afterthought. But it's like, oh, I mean, they they should just have you play a character. This like gender, this like picking a gender stuff is like really weird in these games to begin with. So
I'll agree with you to that point of like maybe those games really do need to just pick one and stick with it, especially because they tend to really show their hand as to which one they really wanted it to be.
yeah, like
Um,
Odyssey, like they mainly showed the girl. It's like,
right.
okay, I picked her. That's fine. Or even
Yeah.
Syndicate, like you switch between them both at the same time because like the brother and sister.
Right.
But you could still kind of see they favored the sister more. Like she had much more of a story. It's
Yeah.
like, fine, just let me play her. Like I don't care. Like I personally don't care who or what I play as. I
Right.
care more about like them building a good story around the character.
I agree with that. Yeah, you should kind of go based on, but I think like Mass Effect is just built with both, and you kind of go with that. But then having to arbitrarily pick one when people are so used to, you get that option. I think it is really going to affect some people, and they're perhaps watching it.
I mean, this is a long time ago, but I think EA once said that like the majority of people just pick like male default shepherd, like
Right.
soldier.
Some people may not even have known that there was.
No, they know because it
Yeah.
very specific. It lays it all out there.
Oh,
But
okay. It does.
yeah,
But still, it is going to be very interesting how they go about it. They're going to have to give whichever shepherd they choose an actual character of someone's choosing. It's not going to be like your own. It's not going to be blank slate character. They have to give him some kind of character because then it's boring to watch. So,
hey man, it worked for Mario.
Well, Mario is a different thing. But still, we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's cool. It's cool that Mass Effect is going to have its own show at least.
I think a show is much better than the movie they were kicking around like a decade ago.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, this is so long that you need to have a show.
Yeah.
I agree. It's like Witcher. I think doesn't work as just a movie. It works as the fact that they gave it more length as a show.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they made that decision of just we're not going to try to cram so much stuff into one movie or make it into a trilogy of movies. Let's make it a show and see what we can do.
I think like an average book is like 300 pages, give or take, but a lot of that is set up, like describing environment or inner monologue or whatever. Games have a script too, which they're probably shorter in length, but it's a lot more dialogue or action, or
there's
describing what's
action
going on.
sequences that you're interacting with, right? That's different than when you're reading it or watching it. So
that's why, as a whole, I think shows are much better than a movie, or unless they can like Sonic worked, but Sonic has fucking no plot, so who cares?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, Mario will probably work because again, it has the same plot,
or even like
over and over.
I know some people complained about it, but even like Detective Pikachu worked because.
I mean, what is there to complain about? Detective Pikachu was great. I mean,
Jens didn't like it.
Oh well, Jens is Jens. He's really very particular about his movies, but
but like I think as a rule, I think shows are better, but they're also way more expensive.
Yes,
like I think it's going to be. I mean, it'll never happen to begin with, but like the proposed Metal Gear movie sounds awful because that's a long ass game to begin with, and trying to cram that into 2 to 3 hours ain't gonna work.
Yeah, probably not. And then also like, where do you go after that? Whereas if you made it a show, you could like each game could be its own season or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I understand why they wanted a movie. It's the same thing like I'm glad Halo is a show and not a movie because there is a lot of Halo lore that you can now explore.
See, I think like initially Halo could have worked as a movie, just Halo 1 as a movie.
Right.
But yeah, the characters, like the story has grown, and also it's a bigger franchise, so people want it more.
Exactly. I'll agree. on that front. So, speaking since we're already talking about movies, I probably should have ran into this when I talked about Resident Evil Village, but I did watch the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie. First of all, I should know that obviously this is the opinion of a 10-year-old, but she liked it a lot, Anaya. So there's something for that. I think here's the thing: if you go into it expecting, the super amazing effects of the other Resident Evil movies and all that stuff, I think that is going to be jarring for you. Um, no better depiction than the terrible. The only thing that I thought looked really bad is the Hellhounds because they don't even try with them. Like it's
You
pale
mean like the dogs?
eye. Yeah, the dogs.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So like the dogs, it's just like pale eyes, slobber. Oh, they bit the dude, and then you don't really see them change, So it's like it's not as cool as when you see them in the other Resident Evil movies or whatever. Some of the zombies when they're at the police station look really bad. Like you can tell that they told them. You can see where in the scene they tell them, "Oh, you need to act more like you're angry," and it's like you see them do it right there in front of you, and it's not great. But I thought for the most part, the movie was actually decent in telling this of like basically mashing 1 and 2 together. Because you have all the characters of one
Yeah.
and
What
two.
in that movie, Jill Valentine didn't kick a dog, jump off 2 walls and karate kick a dog.
No, and then I also think like Jill is just the person they chose for Jill just didn't work for me.
Really? Because I think she's like in that movie. I think she's like the biggest actress in it.
I guess, but it's like I don't know. It's just, it's like her and Leon. They didn't pick people that represent them well as far as like looking the part.
Wasn't
Um,
Leon like like a Spanish guy?
yeah, Leon was a Spanish guy with like longer hair, and I was just like, why almost everybody else looks like their character from the game, but you made Leon so different. It's like that doesn't make sense. It's okay, it's fine. It's like we get that that's Leon, right? But it's like I don't know. It's just why the one guy has to look so different from the Leon you're used to seeing, right? Like Chris, they got it. I thought Claire they did a really good job. I thought Claire is perhaps the best character in the movie. Jill is okay. Wesker's fine. The guy that plays Mr. X is also probably one of the well-known actors in the movie. I thought he was okay for the parts that he gets to play in there. They have an extra character which is not in the games, who kind of they base some of the story around. So like that, I don't know if you know the premise of the movie. Are Chris and Claire actually like were they in an orphanage?
No.
Okay, so that's made up for.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
It's never said in the game. Maybe in the book.
Okay,
Because
because
you're talking about those S.D. Perry books, and I read some of those when I was a kid.
yeah, Naya is reading the Resident Evil Zero one right now, which that's what's funny is that movie almost kind of sort of like goes backwards in a way. So by the end, so
yeah, I'm looking at like Wikipedia. Yeah, Chris and Claire were orphans or like they lost their parents at some point. So.
Okay, so that's so that's what I appreciate is like the story is actually closer to the games, than the bullshit that they pull in the Resident Evil Paul W. S. Anderson Resident Evil movies where they just don't give a shit about that, and it's just basically using some characters as hey guys, there they are. Be excited the fact that Jill is in this movie, but it has nothing to do with any of the games at all. It's just our own plot, whatever. So I appreciate the fact that they really did try to kind of stay close to and actually have a lot of they have pieces and people that are doing some of the similar things.
I saw some
Yeah,
review Well, I know the movie's pretty low budget compared to like the
yeah, it
other
is very
ones,
low budget. Yeah, it's very low
but I
budget.
saw someone complaining like, "Oh, the director just put in a bunch of shots or like locations from the game," and it's like,
Okay,
yeah, that's what people fucking want to see. They don't.
that's what you want, right? Like the Spencer Mansion actually looks like the Spencer Mansion, right? Like that's what you want. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's what the first guy failed for the first 6 times he made those fucking movies.
yeah, I mean, like they capture the fact of Wesker's like path of what he wants to do of so like they got a lot of the stuff right. It's just the fact that I think people wanted it to be this. They wanted it to be the Resident Evil other movies, right? The budget of those with the story of this, and so this feels like it's very low budget, obviously, and that sucks on that perspective. But I liked it from what they tried to do, and there's still some cool moments in here.
I mean, I'll
So
probably see it at home when it comes to like digital. I'll
yeah,
probably like it more than other Resident Evil films because this has a story that I somewhat care
yeah.
about.
I
And
I mean, it was this or watching Encanto, and it was hard because it's like I'm also taking my girlfriend and her dad, and we're going at the 10:45 showing. So like, I said, let's just go with an action movie so everybody kind of stays awake and whatever. And I was like, the one that liked it the most was the one that I thought would be scared and wouldn't like it at all. My daughter, so now she's wanting to read the books and that kind of thing, and I'm happy for her. She liked it, so it was a win
yeah,
for me on that front too. So you saw
I saw Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, okay? The Afterlife,
Yeah, it's fine.
it's fine, okay.
I mean, a lot of people are going crazy because of the like callbacks to the first one, and it's
Right.
like slow your roll, people. Like the Ghostbusters, like the old Ghostbusters, show up at the very end. They don't do shit for they get knocked over, and that's about it. And the
Well,
story itself
at
is,
least they got that one correct because what they're old Ghostbusters and they're old, they're not
yeah,
they're right now
it's
Ghostbusters, right? So like they would get knocked their butt over.
yeah, it was fine. Like I would say, I'd give it like a good solid like 7 or 8 out of 10. Uh, I thought the soundtrack was just really distracting because it just basically used the Ghostbusters 1 soundtrack
Oh,
like
okay.
over and over, like certain musical cues. I'm like, okay, you can stop that little piano riff because I already heard it enough in Ghostbusters, and you bringing it back for the fifth time
Yeah.
is not
Like
doing this movie any
once
favors.
once is
Yeah,
enough. You don't need to do it that many times.
yeah. Yeah, the acting was good. I mean, looked fine. It's not a comedy, or I mean, there's like very few actual like jokes in the movie,
Yeah.
but that's fine. I mean, that 2018 Ghostbusters or 2016 or I think it's from
Yeah,
2016.
2016, I think it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that movie was like crammed full of quote unquote jokes that weren't funny. So I would rather take a movie that's not funny to begin with, or not in like attempting to be funny, than a movie stuffed to the gills with like awful jokes. And yeah,
Well,
where's the new game based on this Ghostbusters movie?
we'll see. I guess if it does well, then
I think it is
maybe.
doing well,
Yeah.
but not like super.
Yeah. Apparently Encanto did not do that great, but it is what it is. So and that's sad because it's a movie with a Latin lead, so makes me
Which
sad.
one?
Encanto. It's basically like
Oh
the
yeah, I
girl
saw a trailer for
version
that.
of
Yeah,
Coco, sort of. Uh well, there's possibly a Marvel MMO happening again. And Jack Emmert, who was involved with City of Heroes and currently heads up DC Universe Online, is going to be a part of it. It's really rumors right now. There's not a whole lot to go on other than some leaks.
Yeah.
Um, I'm still not gonna play because it's an MMO, but that's cool if they can bring another Marvel MMO into
It
existence.
if it was free to play, I might try it. Uh, but my fear is of the problem with Avengers. It'd be too like MCU focused.
Yeah.
Uh, and also
Well,
how depressing is this news for Avengers, like the Avengers team?
I mean, it's just there's no validity to it right now. It's just a bunch of leaks. So
Yeah, but I got the feeling this is like where there's smoke, there's fire. Like, believe me, Marvel or Disney wants Marvel to be doing well in the game space, and like
yeah,
Guardians is fine, but that's not like the endlessly profit generating thing that like Marvel, Disney wants it to be.
right. They want Avengers to do well to the point where they can keep getting something out of it, and it's not right now. I mean, Spider-Man also did well,
Yeah,
and Miles Morales as well.
but
So
like again, those are like those are like a few months worth of profits, or I'm sure they covered the cost of the game, obviously, and made money, but it's not like $60 million a month or 60 million a month on like MMO subscriptions.
no, yeah, for sure, no doubt. That again, Disney wants something they can keep putting something into. It didn't work with Ultimate Alliance. It seemingly is not going to work with Avengers,
How
even though it has a good story mode, but the multiplayer aspect is not helping at all. So,
how
uh,
how much do you think Disney or Marvel / Disney regrets what happened to Marvel Heroes?
I don't know. I mean, I think this is why this is happening. They want one that was existing before Disney took over. So either way, it was going to get canned.
Yeah,
They they want to have their own thing that has their stamp on it, and this
right.
is why this would be happening because they said, okay, well, Avengers didn't work. Um, obviously these single player things work for us, but they're not a cash cow. They're not something we can keep putting money into. The only other thing we have is let's do an MMO and see if we can use the power of Marvel to get people to want to
I,
play it.
I think it's going to run into the same problem that DC one did, where like everyone wants to play as like Wolverine, just like everyone wanted to play like Batman, but they're just quest givers.
We'll see. I mean, obviously they know Wolverine is a well thought out or well loved character because he has his own single player game in the works.
Well, I don't mean
So,
him specifically. I just meant like people want to play as named characters or like their favorite character. They don't want to they don't want to necessarily make their own like random jackass. And
oh
then
no, definitely not. I mean, yeah, that's the whole point. Like, I don't want to play with my own character that I made or whatever. I want to play with as those characters. Yeah, so I agree with you there. They'll have to figure it out, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, they have to have content planned out for a while here, just like you try to do with Avengers. But look, you have, you know, a certain Final Fantasy 14 to look at and try to see how you can make that work.
yep,
But
you can just plug Blade into the main character role and copy that game directly.
I, you know, I don't know. It's just it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do, even with the power of Marvel. If the game it's based on is not good, you
that
can
that's
make one of these, but it's not going to do well.
that's kind of my fear is anything that Marvel really has a hand in seems to not do well.
Yeah, and I think to make this game work, you'd have to have Kevin Feige and other folks from the higher up at Marvel creating stories for it and really
No,
like
no,
giving the yeah.
I guess well partially, but I mean like think about like Spider-Man, like that is wholly disconnected from the MCU.
Yeah.
Think about Guardians of the Galaxy. Like that's mostly disconnected.
Right, but those are single player games. You can do that. With MMO, you have to have so much behind it. You have to have story with story with story. Where you have to have
No. Story is one. I don't mind story. They can create whatever the
yeah,
hell story they want. But I just
right.
mean like it's going to be so corporate focused on MCU that like look at like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite or look at Avengers.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, even Ultimate Alliance kind of focused that way as well. Like,
Partially, yeah. Like it didn't have a ton of a ton of like weird characters. Yeah.
I mean, but see, the MMO, if it works well enough, you can eventually start putting in the weird oddball characters or whatever.
See, like I mean, it was obviously before. It was before Disney took over, but like when Marvel Heroes came out, like the MCU already existed, but they had their own
Right,
separate story and like roster and characters, and it was fine. They just had like the MCU, you know, costumes, and they
right.
sold well, obviously, because that's what people wanted. But it
But
wasn't like
again, like I think it's more about you got to make sure you get the game right,
yeah,
and obviously have a story that's interesting and that drives people along. And again, look at that Final Fantasy 14 model of okay, how do we do expansions? Who are we going to base these expansions around? And then what characters are we going to add along with these expansions? And how are we going to go about providing a roadmap for when we add certain characters?
don't
You know,
cheap out like Avengers with Spider-Man.
yeah. Don't you can't make Spider-Man exclusive to only the PlayStation or
And then have like
whatever.
nothing for them.
It's got to work. Yeah, like I don't understand how you introduce Spider-Man. You make this big deal. He's exclusive, and then there's nothing exclusive about him other than the fact that you can only play him on PlayStation. It's like okay,
And
this is dumb.
he looks like garbage.
Yeah, he doesn't look good. It's not great. Bad Avengers. Bad. Speaking of Square Enix, hey, what do you know? We're talking about Square Enix talking about a game not selling well. Like, when is this not a thing for Square? They already kind of noted that. What was it? I noted that if Guardians keeps going down, they might say the same thing about Guardians. But apparently, Neo: The World Ends with You did not sell well. I mean, there's probably a reason why it's like on sale for $15. I think it was at Walmart.
Yeah.
That I think tells you everything you need to know. The fact that it's on sale $15 at Walmart.
I
I
mean,
mean it. Yeah.
at least it's a shame. I have no opinion on the game itself. Like I didn't play it or the prequel, but at least we're not blaming the white guys for making a bad game.
Yeah, like they're blaming Crystal Dynamics for why Avengers sucked or whatever. But,
Yeah.
so I've only played the demo of New Orleans with you, so I can't comment either on the game itself. It's just the game is niche. I mean, I mean, it has been stuck into Kingdom Hearts because it's another Nomura thing, and but the difference between that, Kingdom Hearts has Disney, right? Kingdom Hearts has all these years of games
decade and a half. Yeah.
and all this stuff. Like Neil Wildlands with You was like shelved for how long until they redid it on the Switch, and then okay, now we have a second game. It doesn't really have those characters or the main character from the other games that It's starting off with like new characters, and then it's also kind of convoluted in a way, so it doesn't really draw in. It doesn't bring in people that may be interested in Kingdom Hearts that know the series from there to play this game. It's a totally different kind of game. So I don't know. It's just I don't think Square Enix can ever imagine that game was going to sell hotcakes or whatever. Now they did a good job of making sure it wasn't just on Switch, right? It was on PS5.
Yeah, but I
It
saw
was
like
on,
that like Square didn't promote it at all, and they basically just made Nintendo promote it. And
yeah, but I also feel like it came out and then it pretty quickly just went away. Like it did not have a very good hype cycle either. It's like I don't feel like it got a lot of reviews because it obviously takes it's a long game, and it also takes a certain person that really likes that series to want to review it. So I don't know. It just there's a lot I think with this that doesn't work and didn't wasn't ever going to lend itself to becoming this huge series for Square. It was always going to be one of those niche series that
Yeah.
So um, I don't know.
I mean,
I had
I'm kind of curious because I don't think it actually said how much it sold. So I'm curious if it actually sold well and they just have crazy expectations like they constantly do,
right.
or if I mean if it really didn't sell, that's a different matter. But
Yeah.
who knows?
So let's move on to one that pulls my heartstrings because I fear the worst because of a lot of what's happened before with games that Epic buys or companies that Epic buys.
Yep.
Uh, I'm already counting down the days to when we get the announcement that basically Harmonix has become another Fortnite studio, or
I mean that was the announcement.
I mean, it is. They're making musical experiences for Fortnite. Is sort of like the main thing they're going to be doing, other than continuing to support Rock Band with and Dance Central with DLC. I don't know where this or Fuser. I'm sorry, Fuser and Rock Band. There is no. They're not gonna make new instruments. They're not gonna like make another game. I mean, why would they really? Rock Band 4 has been made into a service kind of thing at this point, anyway.
Well,
So,
let me ask you this:
uh,
with the news that Epic bought or is buying Harmonix, do you think Harmonix ever makes another game?
oh, I do think they'll make. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Rock Band winds up on PC because they've wanted to put it on PC forever. So,
Well, I meant like a new
uh,
game.
I could see them making
That's not.
another.
I mean, not Rock Band 5. I meant like an actual new game.
Well, they did technically, right? Fuser, and then it didn't do that well.
Yeah.
Um, I could see them making like a weird kind of game, like something where it can amplitude or whatever again. But I don't think you're gonna see another big game like Rock Band or Fuser or whatever. I don't think you're gonna see that.
Yeah.
I think they'll keep supporting Rock Band to a certain extent until Epic kind of gets tired of.
See, I don't even. I mean, I don't even see that being long for the world.
No, I don't think we're gonna have another DLC pack where they're gonna put in stuff that everybody wanted. I don't think we're gonna see that. I just think they're gonna do what they did with Rock Band 3 for a long time. You'll still see them put out the two songs
Yeah.
every week or whatever. I mean, this week they just put out like 11 Newton John's like physical. Um, and then they had
Finally.
Fuel's Shimmer, I think, the week before or whatever. I mean, so they're still putting out music. Um, I need to actually transfer all my songs onto my external drive, and so I can play it on my Series X.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger miss is that people were hoping with Epic being able to buy them, that means that okay, now they have the cash flow to be able to make new instruments and add stuff into Rock Band 4 that people have wanted and all this stuff. And it's like, you guys are really like hoping for the sky here. Um, they're not going to do all that. I mean, look at what's happened to Fall Guys since Epic bought them.
Yeah.
They add skins, and that's kind of it. Like, I don't really see them. There's still obviously a player base for it, but I don't see this like it didn't explode more because Epic bought them. In case you could actually make the case that it like did the reverse.
I mean, the other
Like,
example, my favorite example, is Chair Entertainment, because I mean they made Shadow Complex, and then I think EA or Epic bought them, and then they made those Infinity Blade games, which
yeah,
were fine. but it wasn't fucking Shadow Complex 2. And they were always like, "Oh, we just need the money for Shadow Complex 2." And it's like, you're owned by Epic. Like, they don't have the money. It's not like this game would cost $1 billion to make. Like,
I think it really depends on.
And clearly, like, as you've seen, like, Bloodstained and other crap, or even like Metroid Dread, like, there's a market for this crap.
Yeah, there is. I think with, the thing for me is, I think it really depends on what happens with the Fortnite stuff. If the Fortnite stuff does well, I think that might give them the freedom to where Epic could say, okay, yeah, you can do your own thing.
I mean, I like Harmonix, but like I said, I think they're just done as, like, they're the cool little Boston developer that could, like.
Yeah, no, we're not going to see them be the same Harmonix that they were. Like, I think the people that are having that dream are people that are just like living in nostalgia. They're still the ones that are playing Rock Band every day. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I love Rock Band. Rock Band is one of the reasons why I still play games. It is one of the reasons why I absolutely love classic rock music. And there's so many bands that I would not even know anything about if it wasn't a rock band. Like, just I owe Rock Band a lot. I'm just saying, like, please stop thinking that, oh man, this company came and bought them, so that has a bunch of money, so they're gonna drop all this money into the game that we love. No, they're not, because they bought Harmonix to help out Fortnite, and also probably to, like, just give Harmonix a so you don't have to go into the dumpster bin, which is nice. Again, it keeps people working. All those, the developer keeps existing, and they get to keep jobs, and that's great. And I love the fact that studio gets to continue. Those people that are at Harmonix still doing their thing, still getting to make music. They're still getting to make music, right, in a different way. They've always tried to do something different aside from Rock Band. Dance Central, Fuser, the Fantasia thing, Drop Mix. They tried to the Rock Band VR. Like, they've always tried to do something different, and I appreciate that. And they always have to go back to the well, because it's really the only thing that has really stuck out for them, unfortunately, and for one reason or the other. And they tried to bring Rock Band back. It didn't work. And there's nothing that tells you that Rock Band will ever come back.
I mean, they said that when Rock Band 3, well, not ended, but, that died down. I mean,
Activision tried to bring back Guitar Hero at the same time. It still didn't do anything. It's just people are past that. Rocksmith exists that lets you actually learn how to play a real guitar if you want to. Like, and it's actually really freaking good. And I am sometimes, especially with what they announced at E3, sometimes I fiddle with the idea of, man, maybe I need to go pick up that game and actually do that. Like, it's just, it was a time. And I think the only thing that would possibly do something for them is if they were able to revive Beatles Rock Band and put in the other albums that they didn't get to put in. That might be the only thing that perhaps gives, but that would cost so much money that I don't even think even Epic would bother with that, because that's all the licenses and everything else that they would have to go through. Now, obviously, different deal than when Harmonix was going through. Now the Beatles are on everything. They're on Spotify. They're on Apple Music. They're on whatever. Stuff you wouldn't even think about would happen years ago. Obviously, unfortunately, I don't want to say it this way, but it had a lot to do with Michael Jackson dying and giving the Beatles back their catalog. But, still, I think as much as I love harmonics and Rock Band, I agree with you, Mark. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be some revitalization of harmonics. I'd love for them to be able to make some smaller game involving music or whatever, but I don't think we're going to see this big, huge harmonics release again.
Right.
And I would not be surprised if we're counting down the days to just one day randomly they again announce, I'm sorry, but DLC's ending. You know,
Yep.
because it's epic, right? Like for every story of like a Rocket League continuing and whatever, like it has a fan base, but it's not this huge fan base that like Fall Guys and Rocket League and some of these other things that Epic have bought. It's a very niche fan base. And like Epic's basically kind of like sustaining them to where like, okay, well, y'all can keep doing your little thing over here, but you got to help us and do stuff for Fortnite. And if let's say nobody gives two craps about the music stuff that they put in Fortnite, I think that will start unraveling and cause Epic to be like, well, why are we over here funding for them to continue their little game over here that does nothing? Like at some point, somebody's gonna hit the light switch and go, yeah, we're just wasting our money over here.
That's about 4 years from now.
I mean, it'd be cool if it lasts 4 years, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I just don't see it as a lifeline to bigger things. It's more of a like, we're just sustaining it. And it all depends on how that stuff with Fortnite is perceived, I think. But moving on from that, I know. Oh man, sorry, we have gone a long time here. I did not think that we would still be. I think we definitely because we didn't talk about it. Like had just started to come out when we did the previous show. So I definitely think because we've talked about the other stuff involving Activision-Blizzard, we have to talk about this here. I know it's probably not everybody's favorite cup of tea that listens to gaming podcasts at this point, but we do need to discuss it here. Bobby Kotick got himself in a bunch of mess. At one point, he had shareholders asking for him to resign. Then he had a board backing him still. Then it came out that apparently he knew about many of the sexual misconduct allegations. And this is the problem, right? For a large part of this, it's been Blizzard. It's been, oh, this is all involving Blizzard.
That's what I always said.
And then, right, you were one of the ones that's, and you were correct, right? Most of this involved Blizzard. Then it comes out that, oh, he knew about the alleged rape of a former Sledgehammer Games employee by a male supervisor in 2016 2017. Something that he withheld from the Activision board. That is not good at all. That is awful. And this is a CEO of your company withholding something huge like that. That is awful. And then also he blocked Dan Bunting, the former Treyarch studio head, from getting terminated over being accused of sexual harassment in 2017. You know, dude, you're not reveling putting yourself in a lot of glory here. It seems like you are an instigator of why the company has this mentality. You're blocking people from getting fired for things that people should be fired for. I mean, or people should be, not just fired, but like exiled from the industry for, and especially the rape. I mean, like, what are you doing, Bobby Kotick? Like, what is wrong with you as a human being? Like, I don't understand this. And then it's like, okay, well, you had a staff petition that came out as well, and that you had 1,300 Activision Blizzard employees that say they no longer have confidence in leadership of Bobby Kotick. That's not great. And then even the worst damning thing is all three of the major console makers came out against what has been happening. Even Nintendo, for God's sakes. Nintendo Doug Bowser decided to get himself involved here and send an internal email to everybody telling them we're not cool with this. Like, wow. Like, you know it's bad. You know it's bad when that is happening. And then even more, supposedly Bobby Kotick says, I will resign if we can't quickly fix this problem. Look, here's the thing. It's not a quick fix. This is going to take time to implement. And first of all, you got to get rid of a lot of people, because that's a lot. You need to get rid of the people that have any allegations or misconduct or whatever, and start fresh. And you tried that, and then you still I forgot her name now, the female
Jen O'Neill, or
Jen O'Neill leaves because she found out basically she was like a token. She was basically given the job almost because she was female. Like, it wasn't, it's like, so you didn't help yourself there either. Like, the one person that was supposed to be like, okay, we're now really moving in a direction, and then she leaves. Oh, and then worse, Kotick, remember the lady that was formerly part of like the Bush administration that had the terrible letter that she sent? Okay, Kotick supposedly wrote that, not her.
Which is funny, because like after it came out and was like criticized, he was like, "Oh, we should have done better." And it's like, not we,
and
you.
Then he basically, so he was talking to himself when he writes that other letter where he like calls that first letter tone deaf. Like, do you have some kind of like mental issue that you need to go get yourself checked out for? I mean, like, how do you basically hide behind somebody else's name to then you come out and you're the one that wrote that terrible letter that was really damning and horrible? Like, it's like, dude, I don't think there's much left for Bobby Kotick at this point as far as like saving face.
Especially since like I know Call of Duty's not doing as well this year. That's like it's not the big one.
And I mean, that's good. That's good that somebody finally hit them in the wallet where it matters. Now, granted, I'm sure we're going to have people come out and go, well, this is only going to affect the developers, and the small people are going to get fired over that, whatever. But it's like, listen, what else are you supposed to do? At some point, the only way you're going to tell Activision-Blizzard that you want change is you don't buy their stuff. And
you can't fire 1,300 people.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't fire everyone. Yes, again, there's going to be casualties due to this. But, like, honestly, Kotick should resign at this point. There's nothing here that shows that he is a good leader. Nothing. I mean, okay, well, you can go back and say a bunch of stuff about how he did this and that and whatever. But it's like everything here just paints him in a terrible light, in a terrible picture, and it looks bad for that company to continue to have him there. Oh, the board is backing him and all that stuff. It's like, really? Are y'all that? They talk about somebody that's tone deaf. That board is tone deaf. Like,
they're all allies of him, so of course they're backing him.
It's just I get it, but it's like, my God, it's so terrible for those people that work there that have to continue to deal with this. And like, Diablo 2 Remastered was fine, but it's like, Call of Duty
didn't sell well.
I mean, I just think that's all going to affect them until they get rid of this, until they get this stench away from the company and really prove that they're starting into a different direction. And right now they've done nothing with that.
I imagine they may wait till the end, till Christmas or the next year, and just say we're going to start like new.
We'll see. I mean, the fact that Call of Duty is already on sale doesn't help either. But
yeah.
PlayStation's also been accused of gender discrimination in a lawsuit. First reported by Axios. A former IT security analyst, Emma Maggio, alleges that women at PlayStation were paid less than their male peers and were denied promotions. She says she spent 6 years trying to get the company to move her up the ladder, and they denied her. They also, very close to after this came out, they fired her Supposedly they closed her position, or you know, the area where she worked, but that's not great.
Yeah.
Uh, and supposedly, like, even she tried to get some higher ups to talk to her, and they would just ignore her and talk to other male in the same department as her. It's you know this is terrible and not great either. Uh, that I think is more of like, that's also, it's just, it's something that again, over time it's going to change,
Yeah.
but it's going to take a long time to have that not be a thing where it matters what gender you are. It's more about who does the job well, and do you deserve to be promoted, and all that. I mean, obviously, it will still matter who you're friends with and who you know and all that. That will probably never change. But I would hope that in the future, it will not matter what gender you are.
Right.
But this is still a cultural thing. It's not just in games. There's so many different industries where women are still, paid less, not treated the same, not treated well. And this goes again to show that gaming, this is something that has to be worked on continuously. So it's not a thing. It's good that we're, again, it's being called out in other places so that we don't think that Sony is beneath this or whatever. Again, this is like one incident. I don't know that. Let's see if anything else comes of this. But right now, it's just kind of like a bubbling story. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's not quite as pervasive as the other places.
Yeah. I mean, Activision is just like, it was way too many people.
Yeah.
It's like when you're having almost a whole company, like employees coming out and attacking this, it's not great. Okay, so we're not going to get to everything on this list here. It's starting to get really long. We should mention that Multiverses did officially get announced because we've talked about this before. That's that Smash Brothers game. It is actually going to be free to play.
That was rumored, but yeah.
Yeah, and then it's going to have full cross-play support, which is cool, between all the different consoles and PC. Arya Stark is certainly a surprise. I think, I'm not surprised Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman like that, or we knew Shaggy was going to be there, Harley Quinn, Bugs Bunny, all that stuff. Like, yeah, I think like having Garnet or Rain Dog is apparently his original character, but like I think Arya Stark is the most like oddball one out of all these here.
Well, she's like the one that's like a real character or a real person,
right?
So yeah, that's why it's weird. But hey, at least they're getting the actual actress. So
yeah, that's
they have
good,
voice acting at all. Like that Nickelodeon one.
Yeah. I mean,
it's free to play, so I might give it a shot, or we'll see.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. The 2K22 came out with their first like a new trailer, and they showed off some of the modes. There's the GM mode is back finally. That's awesome. I love GM mode. Hopefully they can get this right. So that's good. They've changed a little bit of some of the like button schemes and everything. There's
hopefully not be garbage.
Yeah, there's a My Faction and My Rise, which is creating a stable and then creating a player. That's kind of self-explanatory at that point. Universe mode, which is sort of like their season mode, kind of, and then of course the creation stuff. So we'll see. I really want to see more of what they're going to do with GM mode. That's always been a favorite mode WWE games for a long time. So I want to see what happens with that. Are they going to make it deep? That's what matters. Yeah, Phil Spencer. I think this is interesting here because when we have a company like Nintendo doesn't want emulation. I mean, they use emulation for themselves, but they don't want other people emulating their stuff. Sony's really never said anything about this, so it's different that Phil Spencer says, "Hey, game industry needs to work towards having a legal game emulation solution in order to better preserve older software." And this is becoming important as games keep getting older, the old retro games, and it becomes harder to be able to preserve them through their own emulation. They released that 76 batch, 76 new games, and that's supposed to be their last batch because all the licenses and everything they have to get. And he says, look,
So,
if there's a way to do legal emulation where we can just run the stuff off a disc, that'd be great.
so that's kind of the question I have is, okay, why can't they just run things off a disc? Like, why are there licenses for games that you already own?
Because they're not meant for that console.
But that's immaterial.
But that's how the licenses work, though.
I would question that because, like, PS2 emulation on the PS3 was fine. It's not like oh, GTA San Andreas.
But that was the last time, right? That we had like the
No,
direct to
GameCube to Wii.
right, but like but that's the thing though. Like
Or even
PlayStation,
even PS4 to PS5.
PS4 to PS5, yes. But
Like,
Xbox didn't. I mean, Xbox One, the Xbox Series did it that way too. But I'm just saying.
I can see his argument. Like, they can't sell, like, Jet Set Radio features like the big one because, like, that's what everyone wants apparently, or people
Right.
want. So I can understand that argument if they can't sell that game on the store because of like licensing issues, like the soundtrack.
Right.
I don't understand that argument if I have a fucking Jet Set Radio Future disc in sitting next to me, and they just released some Xbox emulator that can run it. That I pop the disc into my Xbox Series X and hit play, and it goes.
Right. I don't know. I don't know if it's because they have to, to order to do all those enhancements. Then they have to do the licenses, or
then don't do the enhancements.
Okay, but Sony didn't do it either, right? Nintendo didn't do it for the Switch to the Wii U or the Wii or whatever. It's like, again, what he's saying is in the future, all these companies should want to have legal emulation so people that buy these games could then be able to use it for systems.
Sure, but
in the future,
Sony, right? Jim Ryan doesn't care, and
Nintendo wants to be able to make money off their.
Well, they just want to keep selling the shit over and over.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they just did it with the Switch expansion, online expansion thing. They're probably going to sell that really well, around Christmas time now because people are going to want to play those old games or whatever. But I agree with Phil Spencer in a way of like, it'd be awesome if we got to see this happen. Will it happen? I don't know. Again, these companies would have to stop being stubborn and really try to find a way to make this work so you can find a way to make a profit off of it and allow legal emulation to happen off a game that you're about. Well, they should have to pay a certain fee for a certain set of games or whatever. Like,
well, do you think? Let me ask you this, because you're not a physical guy anymore,
right?
Like physical games. So would you rather buy these games digitally, or if you still had a collection, what would you rather just use that?
Well, if I already bought it, then I obviously want to be able to play what I bought.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to start marking them up, right? Because, okay, if I bought this game on a sale for $10 physically, but then I have to go on the digital store and pay $30 for it.
Yeah, there was someone on Destructoid talking about that. I think Destructoid about like he regrets going all digital this generation because of Black Friday. because like Judgment was $40 on PSN, but like $30 or $20 on in a store. The physical copy. And it's like,
Well,
yep.
yeah, but that's how they get you to go in the store. Like that's the point though. Like they do it because they know it'll draw people to go to the store and buy that for that extra $20 or whatever, or at least to buy it physically online so that they can justify having the shelf space for those games physically, right? If they go and outdo what the physical stores do on those digital storefronts, they're going to get mad, and the retail market's going to tell them, well, we don't want to sell your console. You're trying to kill us here. So,
but
I was
gonna say, like, I agree to his point in theory, but even like the way that Xbox does emulation is like not good or not.
He understands that. I think that's why I think beyond Xbox, the 360, and whatever, I think he's gonna make sure that once you're like the way it worked from Xbox One to Series X is the way he's going to want to make it work going forward. Whatever it is, Mark Cerny talked about all the stuff that they had to do to make sure that the PS4 games worked.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not easy to do, and it depends on like how much of that stuff do you want to keep putting into the new console just to make these old games work that people may or may not play at all. So, that's the thing is like game preservation is great. And I think it's a good idea. And I think it's it sucks that we can't do that like we can with movies and especially music where we're just going to digitize it. And then now it's available on all these services and YouTube and whatever. Movies, similar thing, right? People can just rip a disc and then it's out there digitally.
To an extent, but like there are movies that are like only available like on DVD. And it's like, why is there no Blu-ray or 4K version of like True Lies?
Well, because they don't want to pay that because we'll buy it. That's right. It's about making sure people are going to pay for it.
No, believe me, if there's like a good version of True Lies or The Abyss out there, people would buy it.
I don't know about 4K HD, but yeah, Blu-ray probably.
Movie studios are getting away from physical to begin with, so they don't care about that anymore, or at least most of them.
Yeah, but at least most of them are available in some form.
Yeah,
right. Like they can just put it digitally. Yes, it's there.
You can put in like the first DVD, like fucking run, disc of whatever, and it'll run on your PS5 or Xbox Series X as a movie, but not the most pristine quality version there is, or there could be.
Right, but the fact that it runs, you can actually watch it.
Yeah.
Like the difference is the game, you can't play it without that original system, and that's the difference. Is like movies and music have made themselves to where they will be available on anything, right? Whereas games, it's like you're still, because of this or that or whatever, a lot of these games are stuck on that system, and they will always just be stuck on that system, and there's nothing you can do about it. Unless they find out a way with legal emulation or whatever that they wind up doing, have to do something with that. So that being said, is there any like one big thing you want to talk about that we haven't yet?
I still think Star Citizen is a huge scam. They just crossed over 400 million, and
ridiculous.
Also, GTA still sounds like a disaster. It's funny that they're offering the old versions of the games for like the Rockstar launcher.
Yeah,
it's like, wow.
We're gonna bring these back now because we upset you with these new games that were supposed to make you happy, but apparently not.
Yeah, and it's only on the launcher. Like if you bought the console, if you bought those games on console, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's.
So,
but
yeah, way to go, Rockstar.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, it didn't live up to our standards. It's like, what, you didn't play this game beforehand? Like,
Apparently not.
yeah.
So that being said, there are a few games still coming that are worth checking out in this first week of December. Solar Ash is coming to PC, PS4, and PS5. Of course, these are the Heart Machine, the folks that made. Oh my god. Why did I just go blank? I was sitting there saying it the whole time, and I in my head, and now I went blank. Indie game, Mark. Oh my god, it's a famous indie game that has the
Hyperlight
same.
Drifter.
Yes, Hyperlight Drifter. Thank you. The makers of Hyperlight Drifter, making Solar Ash. This has looked great every time I see a trailer, so I definitely want this. May definitely go purchase it. Chorus is also coming. This is a game that's been shown off a lot for Xbox Series. It's coming to the other console, PS5, Stadia, PS4, Xbox One as well. It's a flight shooter game. So,
I'd probably like that.
Yeah, that I've really been into it every time they show it. So I'm excited to see what it looks like. That Big Brain Academy, Brain versus Brain, is coming to the Switch. It's kind of like their new version of, oh my god, the Brain games that were on the DS and the Wii.
Brain Age?
Brain Age, yes, Brain Age. That's it. That Danganronpa Decadence collection comes to the Switch. What is it? The Happy Humbles Burger Farm that's comes to the Switch. That's that weird game that looks sort of like Doom, but you cook and it has the animals in a weird color scheme thing.
Wow.
Yeah. And Disney's Magical World 2. I forgot about this game. It's coming.
No, I just saw they made another Siberia game coming out like a week and a half.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wow.
That is kind of crazy.
The last Siberia game also.
Well, yeah. So the rest of the stuff will come out by the time before the next show that we do. So yeah, definitely some stuff to check out for sure. Dauntless is also coming to PS5 and Xbox Series as well. If you've been waiting to check those out on the new consoles. But yeah, some stuff that definitely is worth your while here if you've been waiting for some games to play. Of course, not very long we have to wait anymore for Halo Infinite, Wolfstride, and a few other games that are coming until we get to basically that's it for the end of the year. So we are starting to start the process for Game of the Year stuff. Everybody's that's what I'm doing as well, like going through and playing some stuff that I missed. And we'll, we'll probably talk about it more when we have Randy on next week. But yeah, so we'll be recording Wednesday at our normal time if you want to watch live. And then it'll be out there on Thursday at some point. Randy will be on and we can talk about things and whatever's been going on in the news. Until then, everybody, thank you for joining us here. Thank you for listening, for watching. You can always follow us on Twitter at WTM Sean and at Humanity Plague. Until then, folks, we'll see you later.
Later.